Yeah, I got a TikTok. Yeah, I post every now and then. Yeah, I got a... maybe we shouldn't say that. Anyway, follow me on there if you want to. Okay, video time. Hello, friends. And hey, speaking of which, speaking of friends, I think it's safe to say that making friends is a fairly straightforward process, right? You make friends through work and through school and through extracurricular activities and such until you're about 22. Because then it becomes something that you have to actively work at, and if you don't, then it's a whole separate beast. Anyway, normally very straightforward, but I am such a sucker for a good how we met story, and if you do as well, have I got a show for you. So like my last vlog, this story takes place when I was in college. And during this time in college, I was working as a valet in this really schwanky district of the city called Buckhead. Think of it like the Beverly Hills of Atlanta. So I valeted at a fancy restaurant and also a pub that was right down the street from it. Yeah, for some reason, they had this very, not like a bad pub, but just like a very average pub in a really swanky part of town. It just felt very out of place. And it didn't even need valet because the lot that it was on was so tiny and okay, let me have this tangent for just a minute. The lot was tiny. Like, if I remember correctly, it couldn't have held more than like 10 cars. So anytime any of the valets had to park a car, they would literally just back in like 5 seconds. Very pointless. And then, for the people that didn't want to pay for the valet, they'd have to park down the street in the overflow lot. Like, what? Man, how are you gonna inconvenience your patrons like that? Okay, tangent over. I never understood that the whole time I was there, so... what am I even talking about again? Oh yeah, that guy I met. Okay, so like I said, we had an overflow lot, and because I'm not the most important guy that works at this pub, or anywhere else, I had to park at the overflow lot whenever I came into work. So at the end of a long, stressful Wednesday, where I spent 4 taxing hours parking 6 cars and putting all the orange cones away, I headed back to my car so I could go home and procrastinate writing a paper. But when I got back to my car, it was wearing a pair of boots. And not just any boots, parking boots. Because I parked in one of the spots that was reserved for a valet. And since I am the valet and I had no plans to narc on myself, I didn't really see the problem with it at the time. But then, dang flabbit, I didn't put a ticket on my dash, so they just assumed that I parked there without permission. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll call the number that's on the little piece of paper that's stuck to my window, explain the situation, and I'll be out of here in no time. So I called them up, and to my genuine surprise, they were like, oh, well, that sucks, but you still gotta pay the $75 fine. What? Just kidding. No, they're actually really cool about it. They were like, yeah, our bad, we'll send someone to take them off. And they sent me Justin. So we say, hey, he starts taking the boots off my car, and we get to chit-chatting a little bit. So how do you like this job? I mean, I imagine you deal with a lot of douche canoes in this line of work. Yeah, there are definitely those people, but then I get cool people every once in a while, and plus the pay isn't too bad either. Oh, okay, that's good. Do you ever cut people a break if they're nice or anything? If I'm writing out a ticket and they catch me before I actually submit it into the system and they're being halfway decent to me, then yeah, I cut breaks. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, so it's alright. How do you like being a valet? So we just kept chatting. He asked me what I'm into, so I talked about making videos and going to school at the time and all that, and that let him explain how he's into sound engineering and doing sound for live performances and that kind of thing. But then I eventually realized the boots were off my car. They had been off my car for a good 15 minutes. We was just talking. I didn't realize this around the same time because once a lull in the conversation hit, Justin says to me, so speaking of live performance, do you like stand-up comedy? And I, being a person that loves stand-up comedy, say, I love stand-up comedy. Well, next week, me and my brother are seeing John Caparulo at the Buckhead Theater. Do you want to go? And for those of you that don't know, John Caparulo is a very funny, very underrated comedian. He's actually one of the first comedians I got into when I first started listening to stand-up comedy many moons ago. And at this point, I'd never seen him live before. Yeah, I want to go. So we exchanged numbers, we met up next week, we laughed our freaking faces off, and we just had a jolly good night. Unfortunately, for no real reason, that is the only time that me and Justin hung out, but I'm sure that he would have hung again if I had asked him before things just kind of fizzled. But it's all good, man. I got the memories, and I I got a video out of it. So my moral to the story is that you don't really have to go searching for your next friend. Sometimes it can just kind of happen in the most unlikely places. It could be as unexpected as the guy that comes to take the parking boots off your car. So as you're going about your days, you know, don't be afraid to spark up a conversation. Don't be afraid to compliment someone or just say something nice or whatever. Sometimes it can really pay to see everyone around you as a potential friend. Alright, so that's the story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Is it this way? Yeah, okay, yeah. Subscribe to the channel and follow me on TikTok if you're into that. And see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!